When I started my podcast, do you know who I told? No one.
Yeah.
I told no one. I didn't do the whole wish it, speak it into existence. Manifest. None of that. I just did it. I took the action, and guess what that did? It led to more momentum, which led to me taking more action.
There's a law in the 48 Laws of Power. I want to say it's law number 10. Demonstrate, do not explicate.
Yeah.
Because you can talk all day long, and you can have reasons for things, and you can have excuses and everything else like that. The more you talk about your great idea or your get-rich-quick program, the more people are going to, like, especially today, they're going to hold you to like that.
Yeah.
And then after a while, people are going to say, oh, you have no follow through. There's nothing, it's like, if you're going to do something, go and do something. Don't go and just talk about it.
Okay, so I want you to think about this. Let's just say you can't stand me, you hate Fresh, and you don't like Rollo.
Yeah.
The thing is, you didn't write a book this week. You didn't start a podcast. There are people who, like, you may disagree. Maybe you're a liberal and you don't like Elon Musk, but you need to recognize, hey, this guy has accomplished certain things. People who accomplish things, you can still learn from them even if you don't agree with them or you don't like them.
Quite honestly, the reason I put it all into a book format is because I had people encourage me to do so, because they said that you have some really great stuff on your blog, but nobody's going to take you seriously if you're just a blogger. So you need to become an author.
So for example, that whole experience taught me a lot.
Yeah.
And listen, I know I didn't get the job with Cardone, but that one experience right there changed my whole mindset.
Yeah.
And because I tried something out of my character, out of my comfort zone. I tried something. I was like a job interview, like on camera. And I messed up. I didn't do perfect, but I learned from that mistake. And I tried.
Yeah.
And guess what, guys? I tried until Fresh and Fit.
What's going on, guys? Michael Sartain here. We are in Brickell with the legend,
Let's
Mr.
go.
Fresh right here.
What's
That's
going on,
right.
man? He is a legend.
And the best-selling author
Yeah,
here,
the
Mr.
legend.
Rollo, Swallow Tomasi.
Yes.
He just squatted your Volkswagen today.
Yes.
Listen, so what we want to talk about today is why you didn't start. Why procrastination kept you from starting. And the reason why, because one of the hardest things in the world to do from procrastination is write a book.
Right.
And another thing that I hear so many of you guys talk about doing is start a podcast.
Yeah.
So now we have two guys here who didn't wait. We have two guys here.
Leia's brother.
Okay, nice. What we found is two guys here who didn't wait, who actually started. I have Men of Action, he has a CEO network, and he has Reignite. We decided that no matter what, we were gonna start. Now, I'm gonna say the first thing that was able to help me was being around people who were more successful than me. That was the first thing, right? I know Wes Watson's super controversial, but I've learned a ton from Wes just watching the stuff that he's done. I've learned a ton from Dan Fleischman. I've learned a ton from Fresh and Fit. I've learned a ton about organizing myself from Rollo and from Myron and Fresh. I've learned a ton from Ty Lopez. I've learned a ton of stuff from all of these guys. And because I surrounded myself with people who were doing better than me, that's what it was able to help me.
Well, I was wanting more out of life, right? And for most people, like, you go to work, you come home, and it's like, okay, this is paying my bills, but it's not enough. And I just wanted more. So I realized if I don't start now something, I'm cooked. And look at what's happening now with AI. If you don't start doing something right now, brother, I'm telling you this right now, bro.
Yeah.
As you know, this Sartain, AI is going to take over most of the operations of businesses. So business is going to have by 2030, this is actually concrete. It has been said at inauguration, they're going to have AI in every business by 2030, which means your actual expertise, your actual career could be in jeopardy pretty soon. So just the emergency here is that it could affect your business or your career itself right now. But for you watching at home, if you want to start something, start, because if you don't start, you never know what's going to happen. Just start one time.
Okay, and also there's a function of desperation, right?
Yeah.
You're first generation from Barbados.
Yeah, Barbados.
Yeah. And I remember you went on the thing with
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
Right, and then like him giving you that feedback.
Yeah.
I'm sure it pushes you. So for a lot of people, it's survival.
Yeah.
Right.
So for example, that whole experience taught me a lot.
Yeah.
And listen, I know I didn't get the job with Cardone, but that one experience right there changed my whole mindset.
Yeah.
And because I tried something out of my character, out of my comfort zone. I tried something. I was like a job interview, like on camera. And I messed up. I didn't do perfect, but I learned from that mistake. And I tried.
Yeah.
And guess what, guys? I tried until Fresh and Fit. So if you don't start something right now, guys, understand that you're never going to make it, because what does Michael Jordan say? The shots that you don't take.
Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
There you go. I felt Jordan. But the point is that, like, I'm just saying you got to start something, because if you don't start something right now, you're cooked. AI's coming. So,
All right. So the other thing is there might be a catalyst or an inspiration for you to start. Rollo, you talked about having a brother-in-law taking his own life, or family member, and that's what caused you to go off and write the first book.
Well, first thing I did is, I've been writing at this for quite some time. I was part of the So Suave community, which was a forum back in the early 2000s. And I've just been at it for so long, and it was time to really just write the book that I thought needed to be written, because at the time there wasn't anything like The Rational Male. And I can remember reading Neil Strauss's book, The Game, at the time, and I thought it was a good book, but it was more like entertainment. It wasn't really like educational like I was hoping. No, I was gonna say, I wrote the book that I wanted to read, right? And so I'd already had about 10 years of conversations going on the forums. And quite honestly, the reason I put it all into a book format is because I had people encourage me to do so, because they said that you have some really great stuff on your blog, but nobody's going to take you seriously if you're just a blogger. So you need to become an author.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how, when I asked Dan about this when he wrote his book, The Setup, he said unequivocally it was the hardest thing he's ever done.
Oh, yeah.
Was write that book.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been asked several times to write a book, so you might be saying, well, why don't I start? So that may be something that I do in the future, but for me, here's the big one, right? And I don't know if I've told you two guys this. When I started my podcast, do you know who I told? No one.
Yeah.
I told no one. I didn't do the whole wish it, speak it into existence. Manifest. None of that. I just did it. I took the action, and guess what that did? It led to more momentum, which led to me taking more action. Yeah. And so what you see most people do is like, and you probably, hey, listen, put it in the comments. If you have a friend who does this, who always has an idea for a podcast, a new show, a Bitcoin, a teaching program, some info product, a reality show, whatever, they always have a new idea that they're telling you about, but they never execute on it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys right now, speak it into existence is just do it. Take action.
There's a law in the 48 Laws of Power. I want to say it's law number 10, but it's what is it? Demonstrate, do not explicate.
Explicate, yeah.
And because you can talk all day long, and you can have reasons for things, and you can have excuses and everything else like that. The more you talk about your great idea or your get rich quick program, the more people are gonna, like, especially today, they're gonna hold you to shit like that.
Yeah.
And then after a while, people are gonna say, oh, you have no follow through. There's nothing, you know. It's like, if you're going to do something, go and do something. Don't go and just talk about it. So it's demonstrated, because a demonstration is far more impactful.
But Rollo, I have a
than actually
vision
just talking about
board.
it all the time.
I have a vision, bro. Fresh, I have a vision board about my podcast that's coming up. What if I just, if I speak it into existence?
Manifest it.
I'll give you an example. Mr. Beast, right, did content for 7 years before he made his first viral video.
Yeah.
Most people would have stopped for the first 10 videos, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, he was doing something in the moment, refining each and every video how to become better. What happens is, over a period of time, you become an expert in that field. So what happened was, 7 years in doing content, now he knows how to make content to go viral like this.
Yeah.
So, guys, you gotta start something, because if you don't start now, I mean, what are you waiting for?
Okay, so here's the thing. If you had 1% of what Mr. Beast had, and we're talking about like starting a podcast or writing a book, so these are like brand things. If you had 1% of that, you're still outrageously wealthy. And here's the thing, if you're watching this and you're like, say, an accountant who lives in Wichita, like super low stimulus, like not a super exciting job, if you have a brand online, because you started, you're already better than every other accountant. Our buddy James Sexton, right? If you could you imagine? I guarantee you, James Sexton is the most highly in-demand divorce attorney in all of New York. I guarantee you, because he goes on Soft White Underbelly, because he goes on these different places and he shows his expertise. So, like, why would you not want to do that? And the reason why is because you're afraid. So here's the next thing I want to go over here real quick. David Goggins, he has a term for it. He calls it your inner. Here's what it is. A lot of you right now can probably hear my voice and know, if you were to take my course, Men of Action, I'm gonna change your life. And if I'm gonna change your life, your ego, remember, your ego's not there to make you happy, your ego is only there to create an identity for you.
Right.
Your ego doesn't want to change. That's why porn is so fun. That's why video games, people like that. That's why guys hire prostitutes, because it's easy to sedate themselves. And you don't have to change in order to do that thing. Eat like, drink alcohol, take a bunch of drugs. Those things, those sedations are easy. when you hear a guy like me who's a former military officer, I'm gonna change your life. So you're afraid, you hear that and you're like, fuck no. What that is though, hey, I'm gonna start tomorrow. Hey, I need some time to think about this. That's your inner, your ego saying, I don't wanna change.
Think about this. No, what he's saying, guys, is that like, if you're right now at home, wondering why am I not living the life that I want, it's because you're not taking action. And as a result, if you look at it from a standpoint of a creator, it started from zero. Maybe one viewer, maybe one couple hits a video, and then what happened is, over a period of time, it blew up either randomly or just because they put in a massive effort and work. But again, if you don't start, you're never gonna make it.
Hidden, like bouncing your head against the wall, trying stuff, and then finding out. Again, when you think about, so the first book is a bunch of posts.
Yeah.
Right? And you probably picked the best one. You didn't do every single post.
What I did was I took, they were conversations I've been having on forums for a very long time, which I then turned into articles and essays on my blog, which then turned into chapters in the book.
Right,
So,
but you already got feedback from your audience that lets you know what the most relevant stuff was.
Well, I had this one reader of my blog post. Her name was Jackie, and she had sons. She had like 2 sons, and she said to me, in fact, I put this in the introduction of the first book. She said to me, my sons would take this so much more seriously if it wasn't on a blog and if it was in a book format. And I'm like, I've never done a book before, but let me see what I can do, right? And so, I mean, I'm already a graphic designer and an art director by trade back then. And I'm like, how hard could it be, right? And at the time, I thought it was going to be the only book I would ever write.
Yeah.
And now here I am 5 books in, and I'm working on a 6th right now. And it was that one decision to just write the book that I wanted to read. Right after I did that, that's what set me off on the course that I've been on really for the last, 15 years now. And all I did was just write the book that I wanted to read. And then whenever I got feedback from other people, they said, hey, like for the second book, they're like, I wish I would have known this stuff back then that I know now. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna write a book so people don't have to keep telling me that all the time. So that's why I wrote that. And then I had other people saying, hey, when should I give this to my kids? When should I give this to my sons? Because I don't want them to make the same mistakes that I did. And that's what prompted book 3, right? Which was, it was really a message for like red pill parenting and if you have daughters, you've got sons, whatever it is. Basically, it was prompted by people telling me, this is what I want. This is what I want. It was writing a book that I felt needed to be, in existence. And then when I wrote religion, it took me like 3 years to go and write religion because I had to make it really, bulletproof for so many different religions and the confluence of religion and the red pill and intersexual dynamics, which again, another book that I felt needed to be in existence.
Yes.
And the same thing with the Player's Handbook, which is my most recent one, because people kept making mistakes about things and thinking that all these red pill guys are just so stupid. They have all these really, dumb, principles and idioms and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, there's really scientific, psychological reasons behind all of these things. And so that's why I felt like that needed to be written, because people needed to have an explanation for that. So basically what I've been doing is just writing books that I felt need to be in existence so that people can like understand this whole thing that we call the manosphere and the whole thing we call red pill.
Okay, so I want you to think about this. Let's just say you can't stand me, you hate Fresh, and you don't like Rolo.
Yeah.
The thing is, you didn't write a book this week. You didn't start a podcast. There are people who, like, you may disagree. Maybe you're a liberal and you don't like Elon Musk, but you need to recognize, hey, this guy has accomplished certain things. People who accomplish things, you can still learn from them even if you don't agree with them or you don't like them. There's certain grifters that I see on social media. These guys just pander, like the women panders, like the Chris GQ Perrys and the Will Hitchens and the Derek Jacksons and the what's it called, Justin Baldonis. Those guys, I can still like, they're parts of their grift that I can see, and I'm like, oh, I understand what he's doing. He's appealing to his audience. I can steal that idea. I'm not going to pander to people, but I can still steal that idea, even though I don't admire them personally. I think those guys really like kind of lack in integrity, but I can still learn from them. And so that's something that's awesome. Now, here's the other thing. Remember what he said? He put out these forum posts and then he kept getting more questions. This is feedback from your audience. You can't get feedback unless you put something out. My first course, Men of Action, was only 40 modules. After the first course, we went and asked our clients for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions about what they want to see next. And that's how we built the next 64 modules that came in the second part.
So funny story, my network, my CEO network started because I'll post vlogs. I have people in there that are successful, millionaires, like, bro, how do I get his content? How do I get, like, learn his business? And I say, you know what? I'll make a group. We can join in, talk to them on Zoom call once a week.
Yeah.
And I made the network. So taking action, post the content, create that whole business by itself.
Yeah.
But again, guys, you gotta remember, like, okay, this is something low-key that people don't know, that I knew from inauguration. I was there with Elon's top AI guy.
Yeah.
Can't say his name, but I was there with him, right? He spoke about what's coming in the future.
Yeah.
And they know what's coming right now. So they're selling all their liabilities, they're selling all their major expenses, and they don't set them to be liquid.
Yeah.
Because they want to buy on the downturn, real estate, all these businesses, right? Also, with AI, they know companies are going to shut down, people are going to be unemployed, and job market is going to be super low. Which means if you don't act now, guys, you're going to be one of the people that are taken by surprise, taken out completely, or you're going to be, I want to say, yeah.
No, for sure. No, I mean, the artificial intelligence is going to create a gap because there's so many things that you, like, man, it is crazy every week, something else in my company that we can remove through AI. Yeah. And guys, I got bad news for you. Closers, I don't know if we'll ever get rid of closers. I think we'll always have closers. Setters, however, we don't know. We might not have those forever, and that's a different thing. So like
Clippers, by the way.
Yeah, edit
bro,
the clippers.
Bro, there's an AI software right now. You can put in
Yeah.
a video for 2 hours plus.
Yeah.
Right? You put it in there, it clips for you based off of what you want.
Riverside does this, Riverside FM does this, Opus AI does this, and then there's another free one that actually does this as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, those, again, so here's the thing. What we may have said is he started a podcast and a CEO network. Yeah. You know, I started a performance coaching company, and he's written several books. And so you might say, well, that's a lot to deal with. Like, that's too much. And then we start talking about artificial intelligence. And some of you guys, especially, you know, if you don't have a highly technical background, you're very much like, man, that's so much, it's so overwhelming. So here's the trick, man. I'm gonna give you guys a little piece of homework, all right? There's 2 books I need you to read. The first book I need you to read is called The One Thing by Gary Keller. When you read The One Thing by Gary Keller, you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? When you start organizing your life where the most important urgent thing comes first, you put 4 hours of effort into it every day, and with no interruptions, you're gonna notice your productivity is going to more than double just from doing that one thing.
Just out to your point, look at Myron Green's new channel, Myron Green's X. He streams Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. every week. He's become a monster at content creation, and he made it where he made a separate channel, and it's been 10x from then, but it's because he's putting the reps every week.
Yeah.
So it works, bro.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like you have to be able to do that. You have to take those chances. And again, like what he said before, he puts out those feelers and then his audience tells him what they want. Probably happened with Fresh and Fit when you guys started. You started noticing, hey, the audience likes it more when we talk about this and less when we talk about this. And the same thing with Men of Action. We started realizing, hey, I didn't realize how many guys over 40 really wanted to date younger women. I mean, I knew it was a thing, I just didn't know how huge it was. I didn't know how many guys want to go out and learn how to meet beautiful women without drinking or doing any drugs. I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of how many men who were like highly proficient, technical individuals had a really hard time because they weren't getting the woman they deserved. Oh, what is that? Oh, nice. Let's see this.
Pretty cool.
This is the view of Brickell. Right now, your favorite IG influencer is being wined and dined by her sugar daddy on one of these restaurants right here. That's right, and she's not gonna on the first date, so don't worry about it. But then she's gonna do $5 for the next 30 days on her OF, and she's gonna want you to subscribe because she just went to some place to talk to her sugar daddy real quick. That's what's going on. So yeah, shout out to Brickell. The first book, like I said before, is The One Thing by Gary Keller. The second book, I want you to read, and I know it's going to be a little passé, and most of you have already read it, or at least I hope you have, but read the most recent edition, is The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. I have gotten so much, and again, I don't have a 4-hour work week, but it just taking out all the BS in my lifestyle that was wasting time for me so that I have so much more free time. Guys, do you know that I live in the same building as my gym? Yeah. Do you know I listen to audiobooks at double speed, and I listen to audiobooks at triple speed, and at double speed I listen to like YouTube videos or courses online. Yeah, I check my email only twice a day. I learned several things to make my life more efficient instead of wasting time with the long commute. There's all these things that you can learn that can save you massive levels of time. So the 4-hour work week is number 2. And for those of you who have made a significant investment in your business and you're turning some kind of profit, we're talking, let's just say somebody who makes $20,000 a month. You make $20,000 a month or more. I would highly recommend a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Actually, this might even be before that, before 20,000, because the reason why Buy Back Your Time is so important, most of you are watching this right now, you're exchanging your time for money. You work at the McDonald's, you get paid an hourly wage. You exchange your time for money. Even if you're a salesperson, you work at the Ferrari dealership, you're still exchanging a certain number of hours, and most of your leads aren't going to go through. Most of the time you aren't going to sell. You're a real estate agent. You're exchanging your time for money. What happens later on is when you learn to scale a business, like a personal brand, an info product or something like that, a podcast, is you start trading your money for time. I pay an editor to edit my videos to get my time back. So when you start becoming successful is when you start using your money to buy back your time. And so you start paying people. So here's the formula. I believe what it is, it's they take the number of hours in a work week, and then you figure out what your time is worth. Like, so your yearly salary divided by a certain number, I forget what it is, 80,000 or 40,000, I forgot what the number is. And you divide it by a certain number. You guys could look this up on Perplexity or ChatGPT right now. And then you basically replace somebody at 1/4 of what you would make doing that. So let's just say you're a person who makes $100 an hour. It would be worth it to you to pay somebody $25 an hour to get your dry cleaning, get your car detailed, schedule all your appointments, edit your video, etc. Because it's about 1/4 of what they make. And if you can do that, you'll find that what Dan Martell says all the time, something that's done 80% well by somebody else is 100% awesome, okay? So that's how you would be able to scale. And remember, we said the one thing by Gary Keller, so it's like, it's a lot of hard, oh man, this anxiety I have from all these things that I have to do. When you do the one thing by Gary Keller, you will start to understand, if you can just focus on one thing and become elite at it, the sky's the limit, right? It took me a while. I figured out what I'm elite at. I'm elite at taking men who are ignored by women, who are invisible to women, and getting them to date unbelievably beautiful women. I'm probably better than anyone who's ever lived at doing that one thing, okay? That's what I'm elite at, so that's what I teach now to my clients, and I try to help them with that. You might find out after a while from getting feedback from your forum or from your network, you might find out what is that thing, the feedback you get from your community to tell you what you're elite at and you didn't know. You didn't know. Some of us, Rolo's like this, I'm like this, well, the three of us have this in common. If somebody said, hey guys, we have to stream for 24 hours straight with no sleep in order to save the world, we wouldn't even bat an eye. 100%. We wouldn't, if someone was like, hey, Rolo, you got to go on.
What's that, half a show for me?
And you got, yeah, that's half of Rolo's Sunday show. If you have to go on there with no one to talk back to you and just talk by yourself for 12 hours, wouldn't even bat an eye. That's a superpower that we have.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a regular Tuesday, right? That's a superpower we have. So having that ability, some of you might not be as extroverted as we are, or maybe not be as polished speakers. I tell you, that will come also. But the main point of this is to start. Today, we were in, I went on a date with this girl last night. I was out late, got up today, went out with another girl for like a lunch date today, and I was just lazy, and I just didn't want to do shit. And I was like, you know what? Rolo and Fresh are here. Like, am I gonna waste this opportunity? So I was like, hey guys, let's meet up and let's make this video. I'm not gonna f around. So that's another thing I want to talk about. There is no more f around in your life. Every time you go out to a social situation, a networking situation, you're doing so in order to build your network, to build your business. There's no more f around. You're hosting events, you're hosting podcasts, you're doing all this stuff to build your brand, and you're not screwing around anymore. Yeah. When you get that mentality of no more f around, by the way, my life, it's not like I don't have any fun. I still have a lot of fun. For me, not fucking around is I host Swimsuit USA with like 75 girls. That's super fun. I do those things, but there is no more wasting time, wasting effort. There's no more around.
Yeah, I think for people nowadays especially, you're one person away from meeting someone that could change your life. So network is very important, and I think that's a part of my career because that's what I do best, network, connect people together. As a result, you have a big podcast and clients and, of course, big names coming on the show. And that's what we do for a living.
One last piece of advice for people to get off their ass and actually start.
Well, you were just talking about like buy back your time and all that stuff. The person who taught me that lesson the best was Brandon Carter.
Yeah.
Brandon Carter basically has streamlined his life to the point where he doesn't do anything that isn't making him money.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have a car, doesn't do his own shopping, doesn't have to worry about his laundry, doesn't have a housekeeper come and do everything that would take him away from what he's doing. Now, that might not necessarily be you because you have other opportunities. Maybe you've got a family situation, maybe you have something else going on. You have other responsibilities and people who are dependent on you. I get get that. But if you can get it to the point where you can streamline your life down to the micro level, I think that's something that will really help you understand just how much effort and how much energy you need to put into becoming successful. When I did my infamous vasectomy tweet, it was after I had seen Brandon Carter talking about all the things that he does that he just basically just gives up on it, doesn't have to worry about anymore because he just wants to streamline his life. And it wasn't me being facetious or anything, it was just right after seeing that. And then I realized I'm playing the game on hard mode because I've got a wife, I've got a kid, I've got other people that are dependent on me, I've got dogs, I've got cars, I've got all kinds of other stuff that I have to, that are responsibilities that I have that I could be farming out if I wanted to. But I choose not to because the quality of my life is part of that is my family, and part of that is other things that are just sort of intangibles. I know you're not ready to do this challenge though.
So going back to what we said before, the last piece of advice you give to somebody to start?
Just go and do it. Do you remember when we first started Access Vegas?
Yeah.
And what was the conversation like? Hey, you want to start a podcast? Yeah, I do. And that's all that was. That was the whole conversation. That was
before we were in the same room, we had already made up our mind to do Access Vegas because it made sense to me. I knew a ton of girls. He had a big following on YouTube. It was actually perfect. So that's how it worked. What advice do you have for people to just start?
Last piece of advice is AI is coming, and if you're not coming with AI, you're gonna be out. So if you don't take action now, brother, you have 5 years left before 2030. If you don't do it now, people that are smarter than you are going to take this information, apply it, learn AI to their benefit, either build a brand, a business surrounding AI, or supporting AI, are going to survive this downfall. If you're not ready, brother, your family, your friends, everyone's at stake here. So get ready now, because if you don't, it's too late.
Last thing I want to say is, number one, gratitude. If you're having trouble starting, remember, you live in a time after antibiotics, right? You live in a time where you could literally you cut your leg and they'd have to cut your leg off. You live in a time, 50% infant mortality rate. You live in a time when we have internet. Most of you are watching this high-speed internet. You're watching this in an air-conditioned room. Just understand that so many of you can make an incredible living, and you don't have to go down to the town market. You can do it from home. You can push buttons on a keyboard and make money from home. You need to have gratitude for that situation, number one. Number two, learn about present moment awareness. If you guys want to learn about it, I know it's a little bit woo-woo, but it changed my life. I would recommend The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, one of the greatest books I've ever read, learning about present moment awareness. And number three, you're gonna die. You are gonna die. The complete and total acceptance of your own mortality, that's the main thing that makes me take action every day and makes me start. And if you are about to start something, put it down in the comments. Let me know something that you've been putting off forever, but you started, and when you started, put it down in the comments to let other people know, to motivate them, to let them know that fear that you feel, that inner that ego that you feel, it's just there. It's just there to keep an identity for you. It's not there to level you up. It's not there to make you happy. It's just there to keep an identity for you. Remember, you're gonna die.
And to quote David Goggins, stay hard.